long overdue, as I always say, for a Total Gym video. And in this one, I'm gonna talk about 3 key exercises or you could say movement patterns that if you added to a Total Gym sliding bench trainer, I believe ultimately address the major shortcomings of these types of machines. And for this video, I'm really speaking to the person who either has limited equipment, is considering these machines, maybe already has the machines, or is thinking about supplementing with one of these things in their home gym. Also, what I'm trying to do with this video and topic is I'm trying to address multiple questions into one, because if you guys are new here, I have covered this machine extensively. Any questions you could possibly think of with the Total Gym sliding bench trainer, odds are I've definitely covered it on the channel. If I haven't, definitely drop a comment down below and let me know, because I will pick that up at some point. Despite that though, you can imagine my thoughts tend to change. I have other things coming into the gym that I also consider, and don't get me wrong, I also love nowadays kind of incorporating other things other than this. So I do kind of come to new conclusions, and I also recognize there's a lot of people who have not seen past videos, so a topic like this is also some sort of an update as well. What keeps the lights on though and keeps videos like this coming out, if you guys do like this, please like, share, subscribe, leave a comment down below. Also put a few affiliate links down below if you guys are curious about picking up, say, a Total Gym or a couple other attachments you guys might see in this video. All right, so with the intro out of the way, getting into the first exercise or movement, I'm gonna roll in some adjustable dumbbells because I believe this is one of the best complements to a Total Gym. So you don't necessarily need it, but if you're using something especially like this horizontal glide board with the Evolve model, which can actually act as a bench, I believe online on their website, they boasted and said you can use this as a weight bench. At least they told me that early on, so you gotta check with that. But I believe the weight limit for this is 450 pounds. And there was a period for the last like 2 weeks, I was actually without a bench, and I was using this as a bench with no problems. So the first exercise that I would definitely take advantage of, and I wish I did, going back to the days when I was using this for 3+ years as my sole form of resistance training, and I did do it from time to time. I had adjustable dumbbells, but one I wish I did more is specifically heavy dumbbell rows. And the reason I say that is the upper body for sure shines in the Total Gym, no question. But I would say in particular, when it comes to the back exercises, yes, you can do a lot of vertical pulling and certainly horizontal pulling or basic bend over rows, as I'm gonna show you guys here in a second. But ultimately, I feel like the horizontal row is really the one that suffers the most. Because if you're doing say a vertical pull down, say pull-ups, there are so many ways to hit this vertical pull, or you could say shoulder adduction, or this frontal plane, and also just even the sagittal plane going front and back with various back exercises, vertically pulling, whether that's just doing pull-ups anchored up top, or the variety of pullover exercise, which ultimately at the end of the day are still working your lats. You're just taking the bicep out of the equation. So there are many ways I find you can really hit the lats that you would normally get, say, from a lat pull down machine, which stay tuned on the channel. I will at some point do an update talking about my favorite cable system, because I got a bunch of cable apparatuses from pulleys, station machines, weight stacks, and I want to mix the Total Gym in that running as far as what I'm concerned. But the reason I address that is because if I did not have a lat pull down machine or any kind of pulley apparatus, and even a pull-up bar, I still feel like vertical pulling on a Total Gym is totally adequate, and I've checked all those boxes, and I wouldn't even need, honestly, a lat pull down machine. Horizontal rowing is a different kind of a question. Yes, you can do a lot of single arm, double arm stuff, many of which for many years I did on the Total Gym. You have to increase the reps, and of course you could add external weight loads, like I said, even band tension. The problem is, say with band tension, of course it's variable resistance, a little bit different, but it kind of shifts you on the machine. So if you want to do, say, heavy targeted, say horizontal pulling, really hitting the mid-back, traps, rhomboids, and again, even the lats to an extent. And I just feel like build a better back in general. Nothing hits it better, to say it simply, than I have found, and also practically if what I'm talking about in the context of someone who doesn't want a lot of stuff here, than heavy adjustable dumbbells, and it works out perfectly. You can post up off the bench. I do this many times. You guys will watch the channel. I've said this is actually probably one of my top 5 exercises of all time. Personally, I even like it more than a seated cable row personally, but if you have a Total Gym as your sole form of exercise, I just find this a great exercise, not alone just from hitting the back and being able to post up with a heavy load than you would not necessarily be on a Total Gym. Really, like I said, is one of the best back exercises that when I started going back to and actually invested in a heavy dumbbell set, I noticed the back development and also just the stimulus I was getting was something I was for sure missing in the past. And if I had this exercise or incorporated, did a little bit more of it, I think that I would have saw better development in my back. And it was just something else I think I was missing out on. And not to get too long-winded, of which I'm already doing that, I also think just holding something heavy in your hand, that in itself is also a benefit. Not to mention being off the machine and just working your back in a horizontal position, holding this position, which otherwise a lot of people who are just total gym purists don't get a chance to hit as often. Next exercise is gonna be somewhat related and maybe a little bit surprising, but I still wish I did more of this, and I think it's a great complement to a total gym, and that is a dumbbell chest press. And again, more specifically, maybe even a heavy dumbbell chest press. For some of the same reasons. A couple reasons. One was that some people actually complain that the total gym doesn't hit their chest as well. They don't like the kind of a narrow cable. I personally like it. I coach a lot of people into kind of really fine tuning and feeling it in your chest. But so that's one camp, in which case if it's you, simple solution, get some adjustable dumbbells, use the weight bench, or even just, again, I should have said this, but I could have said this earlier, just buy a cheap weight bench if you don't want to get like or you don't have a horizontal sliding bench trainer like this, and just complement and supplement that to your training. That's the easiest thing you could possibly do. But if you're like me, for many years, I actually loved how a total gym, and still do love how a total gym hits your chest. The downside is though, I can't go that heavy because if I go heavier, I start sliding off the machine. Again, yes, I can angle myself, put some other external forms of resistance on there, but I still find that since I'm not braced up against something with my back, in the same way you're not braced up, say with the front part of your body with a, say, weighted dumbbell row, I can't really put heavier loads on my chest. And that was definitely something when I came back to doing heavier things with free weights and also even resistance bands that I was kind of lacking and wish I didn't neglect so much. So the easy tip for that, again, to me is just saying, picking up, using my heavy adjustable dumbbells, and from time to time, I wish I did a lot more heavier chest presses in those past years where I was really using this as a sole form of resistance training. To my defense, to a certain extent, I kind of knew this to a little bit. I didn't think I'd use this forever, and I kind of just thought I eventually would be using this. I probably had a natural high and also just experimentation of using this as a sole form of resistance that I probably wasn't going as heavy or going back to some of the heavier stuff sooner rather than later. So that's just kind of a side point. The last exercise or movement pattern that I would heavily stress, probably more so than any of these altogether, in fact, this was going to be the set video, and some of this might not be a surprise to you, but I'll get a little more details here, is including some sort of a relatively heavy squat pattern. You could say a leg press or some sort of leg machine, yes, but I think there's a lot of benefit if you can with your ability, of course, check with your doctor, all that stuff, to do a heavy, off the bench, just basic squat. I think it is the best leg exercise you could possibly do. Now, whether that means, this is gonna break some of the rules here, you wanna go ahead and pick up a squat rack, in which case that defeats the purpose of a small footprint. There are some novel ways you can do things, say with dumbbells and even bands to an extent. Personally, I'd still definitely encourage safety, getting squat stands with maybe a safety bar. There's very compact racks that they make nowadays, and to me, I think it would literally be worth it to go ahead and pick up a rack and a barbell and some plates just for this exercise, not to mention all the different variations of things you can do with squat related patterns. And I won't even touch on like deadlifting or hinging patterns. I also think is really good for your back, hips, legs, of course. I went back on a time machine and I said, what was something else I could possibly supplement with if I did not want a heavy space and did not want a squat rack? This is something I made a whole separate video on, the USA made Squat Max MD. Huge believer in that thing. I think it's awesome. Also for the population I'm talking to, who a lot of them are older, and for one reason or another, they just don't want to get under a barbell. They like the total gym for all those reasons. That's where that machine kind of comes in key. I will link that video down below if you guys are curious, because there's so many different ways you can hit different angles in your back. Takes a little fine tuning. Yes, there's a lot of loading and unloading, but I also like that's a small footprint. And this goes maybe for a topic, a whole nother video, and you can stay tuned to the channel to see more of this. It's an incredibly versatile machine that really you can add in all sorts of attachments and accessories to work, not just your lower body, but also your upper body. But just speaking for me personally, I know that if I had heavy dumbbell rows, relatively heavy chest presses, and I had some sort of a squat that I could actually load up, and I had a total gym, that is really the forever combination to yours truly, because outside of all those three things I just said, all the other auxiliary smaller body parts, aesthetic body parts, made many videos touching on this. The total gym is really where it shines, not to mention all the different creative things and flexibility, range of motion, and also very joint friendly exercises you guys can do. I think this went a little longer than I intended, but if you did like this video, again, please like, share, subscribe. I'm always open to making more total gym videos, so I was due for this one. I thought this would be a good topic, but drop your comments down below. Anything that I covered here, if there's something else you guys want to see, let me know. If you do want to pick up a Total Gym Evolve, I know they still are giving me their kind of exclusive discount code where if you click the link and actually goes to checkout, I think you save an extra like $200 or $300 on top of their sales that are running right now. I'm sure they're going to keep running them for the holiday season. That's it, guys. I'll see you on the next one.